Hey, Chubbies. We got another Chubby. You're not Chubby Chad. Sorry.
No, I am not Chubby Chad.
I mean, you know.
I love
Chad,
Chubby
you've lost
Chad.
a lot of weight.
Do not be saying disparaging things about my man.
I know. Well, Chad would take that.
He does. It's true. It's true.
Yeah, he said he did send me a text a minute ago, and he said, tell Mike I want to have a beer with him, and I got to pick his brain on something, he said.
All right.
Yeah. So that's what Chad sent me a message. So.
All right.
Hey, Mike, what's up? Cheers.
Nothing, man. I'm just happy to be here.
Did you bring anything to drink?
I did not bring
No,
anything
I got
to
my
drink.
jug.
I'm good. Hydrate.
Well,
hydrate.
You told me a minute ago we didn't get much into it because I had to set all this stuff up. But you told me that you're off you're on the wagon right now.
Yeah, it's not. There's not some big master plan about not drinking. It's just that we're training for the Cap City Half.
How old are you?
60.
Yeah.
But we're training, and I am way behind in training, and I need to get my.
You gonna do the half?
Yeah.
So 13.2.
Yep.
One.
That'll be our
10th, 15th,
9th or 10th. I can't remember.
How'd this start? I think isn't there a cool story with how these started?
Yeah. Well, no, not really. It's just that
Eat that mic a little bit. Get that mic more.
Kelly always was a runner, and she really enjoys. Sorry, I don't know. You'd think I know.
Yeah,
this,
you
right?
forgot all this.
You think I know
this?
this?
It's your third time on the show.
But she, well, I had a little experience in front of that too.
Yeah,
so you'd
that's
think
true.
I know all
you
this.
Think you know.
But she was always a runner, and when we started seeing each other, she asked me if I'd go run with her one time, and I said, "Sure, I haven't run in 30 years. I mean, what could go wrong with that?" And so we went down to Eddie Jones Park, and I got to tell you, it's a mile and a half down to the end and back.
From the beginning of the park.
From the beginning, well, from the beginning of where kind of the bike path starts there, just past the tennis courts, and she was running, she was running 3s and 4s and 5s about every day at that point in time, and I thought, well, that can't be that hard, and so I took off and I made it the whole mile and a half, but I thought she was going to have to call a squad when I got to the end of it. It was bad.
You're what, 50 then?
Yeah, give or take. And then we, I don't know. She just kept saying, you'll eventually like it. And I kept saying, just forever, I just kept saying, no, I don't. This is horrible. I hate every single step. And then one day we were running and I went, oh crap. I like it.
Didn't her dad inspire you too? Like you did something?
No, not really. Kelly's dad is a runner.
That's why I thought her dad inspired you. Wasn't he 70 and he was running it and you were in.
Oh yeah, no, after he retired, he worked for Kenworth, and after he retired, she got him into running. And he, if anybody wonders where she gets her hyper competitiveness from, it would be him. And what was great about it is he'd never been a runner before. He was an athlete, but he'd never been a runner. Mm-hmm. And he really took to it. And he currently holds the men's record in the Columbus half marathon in the 70 to 79 age bracket.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
He's serious.
Yeah.
He's a runner.
And he's getting ready and he's getting ready to turn 80. So he's fixing to put another one up too in the 80s.
So he's going to run a half in his 80s.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that like, I mean, hey, that fires me up.
Oh, there's a lot of, you'd be stunned at the people that do it. It's great. You're out running that thing. And first of all, it's one of the coolest experiences you'll ever have. And I've run it in great shape, and I've run it in
drunk
one time.
Did you run it drunk one time?
One time. Yeah. And
did you hit it pretty hard one time? Like, I mean,
well, what happened was we said we were going to just basically, we weren't in great shape. And we said, we're just going to do a training run. And in a training run, you should be able to talk the whole time. You run at a pace that you should be able to talk the whole time. And so we got to about mile 9 and she got bored and she said, come on, let's go. And we took off and I thought I was going to die because we'd hit it hard the night, or I had hit it hard the night before anyway. So it was a great time. Listen, I love that stuff. I love the half marathons. When you're standing in the corral getting ready to start the Columbus half, or really Cap City for that matter, either one of them, you are surrounded. You'll never be surrounded by more positive people and positive energy than you are at that point in time.
Oh, yeah.
You literally can feel it. It's insane. And it's just a cool thing. And they've got bands through the whole thing. People singing,
drinking.
People are cheering you on, and it's a great experience. And I as long as I can do it, I will do it for sure.
I mean, but just like Kelly's dad, I mean, I'm kind of facing this at home a lot. Not Dad, Mindy, hey, you're getting old, you better, and I tell them all the time, I'm like, listen, there are people out there just killing the game.
Oh yeah.
I mean, like, don't, yeah. I mean, I think that's maybe something maybe geographically down here more than you see in like bigger areas. I noticed whenever we went out west, it was not uncommon. I'm not kidding you a bit, man. I was probably like, I would say altitude wise, I was hiking 7 bridges. So I was probably somewhere around 9,000 to 10,000 feet. Mm-hmm. And I'm not kidding you a bit. I passed a group of women that you would think they just let out of Jenkins. I mean, they were in like blouses and slacks.
Yep.
And I was like, I stopped and talked to them, and I was like, hey, ladies, I was like, how are you today? And they were like, oh, we're great. They was like, you having a good day?
Just a Sunday stroll.
And I said, you guys are savages. And they were like, oh, thank you. We like to do this on Tuesday, whatever. And I was like, wow.
Yep. But if you live out there, it's a lot easier.
I'm sure, but I was like, man, there's some people just, you can't even get them off the couch to try.
Oh, well, and that. It's a mindset.
It is, yeah.
It's just a mindset, and everything generally in life can be cured if you can fix the mindset or the skill set. It's always one of the two.
Do you stay injured a lot running?
I try not to. I don't overtrain. Hard to believe. I try not to overtrain. In fact, I try not to train. But I don't typically. I've got some shin problems right now. I changed shoes, and it kind of screwed me up.
Every time I run, I get hurt, but I got a lot more weight banging around on me than you do.
Yeah, and I've learned when it hurts, I listen to it now versus just trying to power through it because it just takes so long to. If you get those nagging injuries are horrible because they just. You just don't know when you're ever going to get over them, and sometimes you think you're not ever going to get over them, and it's really frustrating. It screws with your head.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I haven't been running a lot. Occasionally I'll go pop in for a run, but if I do it consistently, my feet hurt.
Yeah.
I buy new shoes, I do all that.
I'll tell you what I found. We were in Utah last week doing some training.
How pretty's that?
Oh my God. I can't even tell you. Like the mountains, it was Ogden, Utah, and it sits in this bowl and it's completely surrounded by snow caps, and it's just staggeringly beautiful. But the weather wasn't great, so we couldn't get outside to run. And they had a pretty decent gym in the hotel, and so I don't really like running on a treadmill. So instead of just doing, going on and on and on, I decided to try and do some circuit stuff. And they had a lap thing on the screen, and so I'd walk a half a lap, and then I would run a half a lap. And I started at 5, and then went to 5.5, 6, 6.5, 7, 7.5, up to 8. And by the time I got up to 8 and I'd run a whole lap at whatever that pace was, I was gassed. But for some reason, the rest of the day, I felt amazing. And I don't know what it was.
Heart rate, probably.
Probably heart. I don't know. But I felt a lot better doing that than I do when I just go out and run 5 miles or whatever. Mm-hmm. But, it is what it is. It keeps you younger. And I always feel better when I do it, so it's a good thing.
Yeah. Keeping you young, Mike. Oh, Kelly's a lot younger than you.
Trying to. A little bit.
You got to do what you got to do.
Just a little bit.
What was you out in Utah doing?
Training.
For? Is this Cyberbacker?
No, that one wasn't. It was a program.
I want to talk about Cyberbacker.
Yeah, we will. But it was a program that kind of a coaching program. It's MAPS business coaching, and it's more about sales and leadership and things like that. Okay. And it was a really good program.
You're hitting those a lot.
Yeah, well, they pay off, and because what I do now is I spend so much time training and teaching right now that it really comes in handy when you have the guy that taught the class is, I mean, this is all kind of in the Keller Williams world, and the guy training or teaching the class is a world-class coach. So he is the guy that Gary Keller, who owns Keller Williams, asked to coach his own son. So he's at that level. And out of all of the zillions of coaches out there, he asked him. And what was great about it was just the different ideas and different words. It's all about the right word, recognizing the right words at the right time and things like that. And when you're teaching, it comes in handy. So we always try and pack in as much knowledge as we can.
Hey guys, on behalf of the Chubbies, huge thanks to Geiger Brothers Construction. Give them a call at 740-286-0800. They've been great community supporters, and they are a friend of the Chubby program, so thank you, Geiger Brothers Construction. You know what? I tell you something. It's really been there's two things that have helped, in my opinion, that have helped me dealing with like situational. What do I want to say? You got to forgive me because I'm so low down here. I'm out of that sales lingo world now, kind of.
I get you.
But what I want to say, situational correspondence, I guess. You know. But there's two things. There's two things that have helped me the most. Number one was coaching little kids sports.
I could see that.
Okay. It taught me what I was bad at. Okay, that's what it taught me. You talk about exposing my bad stuff. That exposed my bad stuff.
Tell me more about that.
Well, I just realized that I'm not that guy. I probably, I was not built to be a coach. I'm a great helper. Okay. But I do not have that back off, turn it on button. I see things but I can help all day long. I just cannot have much. I can't be leading the ship, because I'm too much full go, because I've always been in this sales world. You know how these sales worlds are. There, you strive to be number one every day. Just can't do it. I wouldn't say too competitive. I don't like it, so I choose not to do it. That and horses. Horses will tell on you too.
How so?
Horses respond a lot better to. What do they say? Ask, show, tell. That was always a big thing in the barns. Ask, show, tell. And
what's that mean?
You ask a horse to do it before you tell it to do it. Okay, so you like if I was teaching a horse to just let's say move off my right leg. Okay. So I'd ask it first. Let's see what you do. I'm going to ask you to move off my right leg. If you do, I'll reward you. Okay. I ask you, you didn't do it. I'm going to tell you to. Okay. So move off this right leg. Okay. Okay. You didn't do it. So I'm going to show you. I'm going to move you off my right leg. Now that didn't work. So we're going to go right back to ask, show, tell, ask, or no. Well, that's what it was. Ask, show, tell. Ask, show them what you're wanting, and then tell them to do it. And that was a good kind of exercise for me to do. Not so much like, it's not like I'm doing that with people, but like that's a good exercise to do with just, explaining insurance products and like, hey, I'm going to, what do you want me to do? I'll do what I can. Here's, I guess not do what I can. That's bad verbiage, but here's, let me ask you what are you wanting me to do, and then, let me show you how I can do that, and then here's how we're going to do it. Tell, and if you do those steps, it was nice. And I noticed that horses didn't really respond like, cause there's a lot of guys that just jump in there and they tell it what to do, and you can't do that. Right. I always just like that little step of ask, show, tell. I just kind of like that.
Do you do that with Gibson?
I have, and then that leads to like different things, like like Gibson he'll pop me every now and then for like take Saturday for example. You go out, you're throwing ball in the yard, hey, my kid's fine, it's not it's not the end of the world, but old dad's tired of chasing balls. I mean, how much baseball we got to play? And every dad's out there doing it. You know, I mean, I'm 42. My dad's 75. I'm sure one of us would have to bend over every now and then, even if we got out there and played today. But, you know, I just, you know, it was morning. I just, hey, you know, so every now and then Gibson he'll check me up, and that's so. At what point as a dad, I think, you know, do you get to where it's like, you know, how long we gonna ask Chotel? Hey, I'm telling you, throw that damn thing at my chest.
We're down to one option.
Yeah, so you know that part's been interesting, but you know those I've gotten a lot out of, like just calming down and just trying to, you know, just take it. The horses taught me a lot about just patience. You know, just. You know, because it takes a lot of repetition, man. A lot of repetition on things. So
I did have one experience out there that's probably worth talking about. This guy also does a pretty high level podcast, and someone who had been listening to his podcast reached out and got a hold of him, and it was the captain of the USS Ronald Reagan, the aircraft carrier, nuclear powered aircraft carrier, currently stationed in Japan. And, you know, that aircraft carrier has 5,500 sailors on it. Like, it's a giant city in very close proximity, and it would be a lot to manage. And so he happened to be on shore leave that day, and so Abe reached out to him and said, hey, would you talk to these folks? Would you care to zoom in? And so he zoomed in from Japan. And you talk about an interesting guy. He was telling us that, I asked him what his biggest challenge was in terms of working with the people on the ship. What was a challenge for him? And he said that every time he walked out into the common areas, all eyes were on him at all times, and his demeanor mattered. The way he looked mattered. If he looked angry, or if he looked happy, or if he had any emotion at all, it was interpreted and
set the tone for the day.
Set the tone for everything, and then that just kind of runs rampant through. You know, it's like, so he had to be very cautious when he was out in the middle of things about his demeanor, because it could cause problems on the ship if he was mistaken for being anything. It didn't matter. And I thought that was kind of interesting. But he was a cool cat, man. He was just really a top-down thinker, and a bunch of people asked him questions. But the other thing I thought was interesting is he literally, in order for him to be successful, he time blocks all 168 hours of every week.
I would almost, yeah.
Literally.
I would almost assume
like
that.
his sleep, he plans his sleep, the time he spends with his wife, the time he spends working out, anything. Every single moment of his day is planned out every single day, and it's all done on a planner. It's like the amount of discipline that those guys have is crazy. And I could go on, but the thing that struck me about it was, I feel really good if something popped off, knowing that people like this are out there running things to protect this country. Like, a very, very impressive human being.
Who was this coach?
I have no idea.
No, the one that called this guy, or the guy that they called.
His name's Abe Shreve.
Abe Shreve. That's who you went and saw?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, going back to like that with that Gibson thing, you talking about his demeanor. That's the part that I got exposed on. I don't have the let's have fun and let's win. I have let's tear your heart out, or do we not care?
that comes from what you do for a long time, and you're hardwired that way anyway.
Sure, yeah.
But it's a learned thing.
Yeah. Well, it's just, and I don't care. I don't need to fix it. I just don't need to. I'll help you.
Yeah.
I'm fine. I don't need to run the ship. I'm fine. There's guys that like to do that are built for that. I'm not.
Yeah.
Yes, I miss the sales world of doing, and not that I don't have that. I guess I have that. I've got one coming up here on like the 18th, I think, in Columbus. I don't get to go to enough of those things, probably. This world I'm in is kind of independently just.
Look, they're great, and any training is great training as far as I'm concerned. If you can learn something every day, it's a great day. Every day, and I try and learn something every day. But those sales trainings are fabulous, and it's not just so that you can become a better salesperson. It's all wrapped up in a great big ball of thinking the right way, and doing the right thing, and trying to provide. At the end of the day, it's about providing more value for the people that you work with.
Yeah, it's all get up earlier in the morning, be a better person type stuff.
It is.
It is. So, hey.
But the older you get, the more you understand that they're right.
Yeah. I think you need a little bit of that, especially, it doesn't go away.
Hey, do you want to help develop your child's athletic ability? Or maybe you want to get off the couch and make yourself a little bit better? They earn the day at AP Prep. Look them up, apprep.info.
So tell me about this, the cyberbacker. So tell me about this venture here, or what do you want to call it? You want to call it a venture?
No, it's cool.
What do we call this?
It's been an interesting run. It's been an interesting thing to be involved in. So a few years ago,
because I used it,
in the middle of COVID, real estate was doing really well. The market was doing really well, and Kelly's team was growing, and you got a call one day from one of the people in leadership and said, "Hey, you guys are going to really need to scale, and I want you to take a call from this company. You don't have to do anything with it. Just take a call from this company. It's called Cyberbacker, and they provide virtual assistants in the real estate space and in other spaces, and they are really good at what they do." And so Kelly said, "Okay," and we did.
All right, back up. All right, let's talk about virtual assistants.
Yep.
Okay, so whenever they said, okay, they provide virtual assistants. So, okay, I know the first time I heard that word, I was very like, what sounds cool? What is that? But turns out, and I got first introduced to that basically down to Office Commons. Larry provided that down there years ago for us. And what a tool.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I mean, that's just, that's the only thing I can say. I mean, it's phenomenal. So explain whenever they say that they offer virtual assistants. Now that is a very broad topic.
Super broad topic. So
what is virtual assistant?
Think an offsite employee.
Think of an assistant. Think of a personal assistant.
It is. So our cyberbackers, virtual assistants, can do any administrative task that you would need that does not require a physical presence or specific licensing.
But this is a physical person.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a physical person, and it's your physical person.
It's just done over the phone.
It is either a part-time or a full-time employee.
Yep.
And most of the time it's over Zoom. Most communication is done over Zoom.
Okay.
But we Zoom with them, we text with them,
perfect.
Slack channels, so, you name it. Just if there's a way to communicate, we do it.
So they're offering that service in the real estate space. Now go.
Right.
Okay.
And so the company was started, I'm going to say 2017 by one of the Keller Williams coaches, real high level coach. And he had used virtual assistants before in his real estate business. And
I've been using them for 10 years.
Yeah. And so what happened was as their coaching platform grew, the coaches were taking them. Some of these coaches are coaching 60 and 70 clients a week.
Okay.
For a half hour at a time. And the reporting that goes along with that became, you would then, if you spend another hour or another half hour doing the reporting, then it becomes not doable. Right. Yeah. And so he had been using virtual assistants. So he started this little company, and he one of his virtual assistants that he had been using in the Philippines said, "Hey, I'd be willing to partner with you on this." And it was his very first virtual assistant that he'd ever had. And so they started a little company. They started an entity in the U.S. and an entity in the Philippines, and they started this company to support coaches. And so they would be on the call with the coach, but they'd be taking the notes, they'd be entering everything in the CRM, and they would then handle all the back end work. So the coach just needed a coach, and that was it.
Okay.
So that's how it started. And then he figured out that you can utilize them in the real estate space as well. And then that went on to be utilized in any business that you can possibly think of.
Oh, yeah.
And so like just in real estate alone, there's 3,200 cyberbackers working for top agents throughout the United States and Canada. There's some in London, there's some in Mexico, but it's almost all here in the US and Canada. And so we hired one, just said, I don't even know what this is about. We'll hire one because we've got some gaps that we need to fill. So we hired.
Yeah, sometimes in business, there's a gap that'll need filled that doesn't justify hiring somebody for 40 hours.
Right.
But it might justify somebody taking on, a 20 or 10 or something,
Well, these guys are all either 20 or 40. Take your pick. So we hired this guy full time and had no clue that we were utterly and completely underutilizing his skills. Every one of these people, for the most part, it's very, very rare when one of them does not have at least a bachelor's degree, and a lot of them have advanced degrees. So
you need a flyer.
Yeah. So we hired him, and and Kelly was really like, his name's Arvy. Arvy is Kelly's guy. And so he does all of her admin work. And she's doing some coaching now. And so he does her back end on the coaching, and he's on the calls with her and things like that. When she goes to listing appointments, he's in her ear and he's taking notes and all that kind of stuff. So it's a really cool thing to see. But what we realized was that he was capable of a lot more than what we were using him for. So we just blew him up and just kept giving him more and more and more. And he just kept doing better and better and better. And it was a great thing. So we were at a convention about a year and a half ago, and I heard that the company was, through the grapevine, that the company was going to franchise because doing it all from one central location, they just couldn't get the growth that they wanted. So they decided to franchise across the United States. And I talked to the guy, and conversations ensued. And so about 3 or 4 months later, we ended up buying the Northern Ohio franchise territory for the company. We couldn't get Southern Ohio. It had already been given out, which would have had Columbus and down to Cincinnati and everything. So we took Northern Ohio. So I've been spending a lot of time working on that up there, just a lot in Cleveland, Akron, Canton, Youngstown, Toledo, that whole area up there, developing business up there for the franchise. And it's a really cool thing because we're able to go in and help people get leverage and be able to do more, be able to accomplish more. And a lot of the cyberbackers work with assistants that are already working for an executive or working for a salesperson or whatever it might be. And some of them are working directly for that person. And it just, however it looks, they can set it up to do whatever you want. But it's a pretty cool thing. And the cost is super reasonable. You can hire a part-time person in the $800 or $900 or $1,000 range, depending on what the job is. And the full-time is somewhere around $1,500 a month for 40 hours. And it doesn't.
You can pay somebody $1,500 a month and they'll give you 40 hours a month or a week?
A week. But what you have to understand is in their country that these jobs are coveted. That's why you're getting people who have 4-year degrees and who are extraordinarily intelligent, because in their country that amount puts them in the upper 80th percentile of
just because of the value of the dollar.
Yeah, well, it's not even that. It's just in their world, that's their economy. And and it's weird in some of these countries that they make more than most lawyers and doctors in their country. It makes no sense, but it's a very different view on things. But it's a really cool thing to be involved in. They're super loyal and really nice people.
Yeah, I've worked with Arvy with you guys before.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
You guys have had him for a minute now, haven't you?
Yeah. And he's
I thought he worked for like you guys.
No, like Arvy ever tries to bug out, Kelly will be on an airplane to the Philippines finding him.
I really thought that he lived in Columbus.
Mm-mm. No, and he works all night. What's crazy is it is exactly 12 hours difference.
Okay.
So if it's noon here, it's midnight there. And so they're all vampires. It's crazy. Like, I don't know how they do it, but that's the norm there.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of people work through the night there.
You know, I really am enjoying this shift that COVID brought on with like the technology wave, you know, of the virtual assistants, like I've been, all of my clients, I've been sending them the app. I've been, talking about our web payments, and, there's a lot of people that aren't receptive to it, and that's fine too. I'm okay with that, but there's a lot of them that are, and those type of people are fun for me, because it's like, yeah, it's kind of cool. You need your ID cards. They're in your pocket at all times.
Yeah, absolutely.
Here's the app.
And it's for sure cool because we're seeing applications now as a result of COVID that would never have happened. Ever before. Today I had a 2-hour training that I did for an office in Cleveland, that it was me on Zoom talking to 30 or 35 people in a room with a moderator there about products and different things, different training pieces. And it was crazy. And so now what I do, my job is to train people that in ways that allow them to gain leverage and to, I'm kind of a leverage guy. Like that's like any way that you can leverage anything to do more for your business is what I do. Well, obviously Cyberbacker is part of that because you can leverage people with Cyberbacker. So it's an added value thing, but I do a lot of training, and I forgot how much I love training. I mean,
really?
I love training.
Huh. Well, you're getting to deal with people, and you're getting to see success, and you're getting to see wins, or
fix problems, or whatever it is.
Well, I mean, I don't think that you're necessarily, I've said this to you before, I don't think you're, necessarily driven by like money anymore as you are more just like, success with it. Like,
man, I want to add value.
Yeah.
Because the more value I add, the more comes back. And
you did that with the beer, and you did that with the T-shirts. I mean, you were kind of trying to do that with everything.
Listen, man, I had a mindset shift many years ago about that whole thing, and it matters to me. And so if I can help these guys be better, I want to help them be better. And as a result of that, they push my business up there.
Yeah.
And so it's a win-win for everybody wins.
Yeah.
But it's a really cool thing to be involved in, and I like it a lot.
Yeah, you seem to. You guys are hardly ever here anymore.
We're here more than you think. We just don't go out a whole lot.
Yeah.
We're here a lot more than what it might seem like. But so Kelly coaches 1 day a week.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
But when she's coaching, she does it from the house because she's like she's got an office. So when Morgan graduated and moved out and moved to Columbus,
we packed her stuff up, but we
put it all in a box and said, "Hey, take it with you.
You're never coming back, Morgan."
That's not true. That's not true. She knows she can come back anytime. So she set her office up there to do coaching in the upstairs. So on 1 day a week, she's there doing that. And and we try and go see the kids and the grandkids 1 day a week, but most of the rest of the time we're here. Some every other weekend we're usually.
Well, yeah, you guys are just spread out. Your kids are, her kids, your kids. They're some of them are in Columbus and some of them are here. And I mean,
yeah. Well, Drew's the only one left here for her, and I've got 2 boys in Columbus, and both her girls are in Columbus.
Yeah.
So and we're 10 minutes from the furthest one, which is awesome when we're there. And so that's the whole point of the whole drill.
Yeah. My God, as a parent of an 8-year-old with a family and moving through life, the best thing I ever did was download the McDonald's app. What a breeze. Order for your family. Pull up. They bring it to you. Easy. Download the app today from McDonald's. And Drew, he's in that, stage right now where he's got his buddies, and
he doesn't care whether we're there or not.
Yeah.
He just wants dinner. Like, and he is the just personification of a 17-year-old boy.
He is, dude. He's such a good kid, though.
Oh, like absolutely.
He is. I watch him a lot over at AP, and just he's like such a good kid. Such a good kid.
He works.
And he works so hard.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, he works so hard.
He has the work ethic of I can't even say how it's just incredible what his work ethic
Yeah.
is. And it's great to see. But all those boys in that class, I mean, there's so many of those boys in that class. Oh my heavens. It's a great class.
Yeah. That they're going to miss that class. There's a lot of good kids in that class, but I don't see you guys now. We're neighbors. We're 2 doors down here downtown. I never see you guys anymore. But, and I'm usually here a lot. I've been on the road a lot here lately too, but I'm usually here a few days a week anyhow, but I've been doing a lot of it too from the phone. I've been using a virtual assistant now for 10 years. You know, and I tell you, it's so mine's a little different, you know, so not different. Mine isn't necessarily, I guess mine's a virtual assistant in my world. It's my virtual assistant can actually do the changes and things, not so much a personal assistant as it is a direct insurance assistant.
Right.
Okay. Which is the same thing.
If that person doesn't do it.
Yeah, exactly.
You have to do it.
I have to do it. And I tell you what, on a business level, that has been by far the best thing that I've ever done. And my company started offering it to me back probably it's probably been 8 years, probably 2014, maybe 2015. And they offered it. They came out as like a pilot program at first, and they were like, "Hey, we're rolling this out." You know, and like you had to like hit certain benchmarks and you could keep it for a while. And I think you got like 2 years of it for free. And now I have to pay by the call. I don't pay like a monthly subscription. I pay by the call.
Yeah, but gladly.
Call. Oh, gladly. And even me, like I can call, like, you know, there's been many vacations that we do and stuff that like I'll, you know, somebody will text me. I mean, you know, I'm never going to outrun that, you know, and either it's Kelly or whoever, you know, and so I can call and I can say, hey, you know, I don't know the guy's policy number, blah, blah, blah. Please do this, you know, I'm out of the office and, you know, can you handle that for me? And a lot of times I'll just say, hey man, I'm out of the office. Can you please call the office?
Yeah.
If you call the office, it's just like you call that, and it's that virtual
Goes
assistant.
right to that person.
Yeah. And it's been really, you know, it's been really cool. And Larry offered that down there at the Office Commons too. He, you know, he kind of offered you that service, which in was kind of like a virtual assistant, you know. And if you have he actually called it a virtual office. You could actually have a virtual office, which is essentially kind of like, but not really. It was kind of another little niche like that. But what you're talking about is more for like that person that genuinely needs an assistant without reaching over and touching them.
Right. And so what ends up happening is a lot of the people who get virtual assistants, where they get in trouble is it's their first employee that they've ever had to hire, manage, all of that.
But you don't touch them.
So what happens is...
But it is a real person.
But it is a real person. And it's your person. They work directly for you.
And you're talking to them on the phone.
Every day.
And they're talking English, right?
Oh, heavens, yes. Yeah, over there in the Philippines, that used to be a U.S. territory until sometime in the 50s. I can't tell you the year. But so even today, when those kids get to kindergarten, all of their classes are taught in English except for Filipino history. So their English is good.
Oh, yeah.
Good.
Yeah, you would RV. I now that you say that name, and I was like, oh my God, you mean that's what he is? Like
some are better than others, and he's exceptional. But that being said, so this is interesting. One of the things that we're seeing is, and this is actually really cool, and it makes me happy to see. But working moms are taking part-time cyberbackers as like a concierge service. So they'll work for them for 20 hours a week because, you know, being a mom is the hardest job in the history of Earth, unquestionably. And then you layer on top of that whatever responsibilities they have at work. And you've got a woman who is an insurance executive or an executive somewhere or a doctor or a teacher, whatever it is. And they get home and they're exhausted and their work is just beginning, right? So what they're starting to do now, we're starting to see this, is they're hiring virtual assistants to help them with meal planning, ordering food, ordering stuff from the grocery store, running the Amazon, vacations, bills, play dates, kid events, like you name it. They're like the
juggling the calendar, entries into the calendar,
literally running the calendar, which is the thing that you need most. Make sure you don't miss the doctor appointment. Make sure you don't miss the dentist appointment, and make sure that there's the next one's scheduled.
So that person, so you could call this, let's say you had this person. So like, let's say that my wife hired this person, full-time teacher, mother. Okay. And so Mindy's household, I'm sure a lot of houses are like this, but let's just say in our house, Mindy does the majority of the laundry. Here lately, we've kind of been splitting the cooking just because I'm on diet mode. She does all Gibson's, like homework. She's the teacher, She does about probably 20% of the bills, maybe something like that. She's got enough to juggle. So she could call them and she could say, so you're saying she could call that person. She could say, okay, virtual assistant, Monica or whatever, Richard, whatever. I need you to here. They could even carry you could give this person, let's say, your debit card. Okay. And you could say, hey, I need to pay these bills, and these bills on the 15th. And that person would do that.
They'll do all that. Here's where they'll do all that. They'll run your calendar, all of it. Literally, whatever you want them to do, they can do.
Okay.
And then you get home and you're exhausted, and Gibson's now this wouldn't happen because Mindy's a teacher.
Yeah.
But a lot of people are using them as tutors as well.
Oh, wow.
Sit little Johnny right down in front of the computer on a Zoom call.
And you're going to go through homework with this person.
And they're going through homework. Like, so it's not hard to eat up 20 hours a week in that scenario.
That's Mike. That's Mike.
Incredibly
Mike,
valuable, right?
Mike, you're not telling me that these guys are going to do tutors and do all. So these guys will tutor your kids.
Hey, Patch. You still heating your house with wood?
Hell no, man. It was way too much work. I installed a gas stove, and I've been calling Nimco Gas at 740-596-4477. I also got a hold of them at nimcogas@outlook.com as their email, and I also looked them up on their website, and that's nimcopropane.com. Chad, these guys, they've been delivering gas for over 30 years in our area. Just talked to them last week. They said that their customer base is one of the biggest it's ever been. It's one of the best things I ever did was call Nimco Gas. I got tired of dealing with all that wood. Way too much work.
Nimco.
If that's what you want them to do, absolutely. And they're competent. I mean, look, all of these people, you're talking about people with 4-year degrees, almost every one of them.
So like, okay, so let's say that that person wanted to do that. Okay. Would they hire that person? Do you hire that person? What if that person quits? What if that person, I know you've had that RV for a long time, so I doubt that there's a whole lot of turnover, but what's the turnover like with that company?
There's some, part-time more than full-time, because part-time, a lot of the part-time people are people that just got out of college, things like that. And they're kind of advancing in their careers and they're looking for more. Kind of thing. And a lot of them will go to a full-time gig because sometimes the person that they're with will never take them to full-time.
So they only have one of these. Like, so you only have one person you do this for. So like if you're that person in the Philippines,
they don't work for anybody else. They work for you.
Oh,
that's it.
That's it.
They work for you. They are your person.
Okay. That's it. So you're not sharing them.
Mm-mm. Well, some people do. So some people, especially like in real estate, they'll go out, get two agents will share a full-time person.
Yeah.
And my only caveat is you got to do the same. Both of them, you have to use them for the same job.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't work otherwise. But yeah, that happens. It's not a problem.
So like, what if you were a household? Could you treat that like that?
You could, but the problem with it is a lot of the things that need to be done at the same time. Right. So you can't have somebody working from 8 to 2 and then 2 to 6, right? Because a lot of things that need done are all done in the evenings for working parents.
Yeah. Well, but I'm saying, but I'm just saying, like, I'm not talking about that, but let's just, so let's just say that, a household, Pudge and Mindy, Mike and Kelly, whatever. And you guys hired this person to be, could that household hire that virtual assistant?
Yeah. Absolutely. Happens all the time.
Okay, yeah, like rather than just Mindy hire, could that household hire it? And I also say, hey, RV, I'm just using the name. RV, could you, this is Jason. Hey, put in me and Mindy's calendar, Gibson's ball game Tuesday at 7. And will you call us and remind us to pick up, we need to grab McDonald's, and will you call McDonald's and actually have our order ready for us in the pickup lane?
Yeah, all that.
All that.
And more, yeah.
Easy stuff.
Super easy.
That's stuff. Easy stuff.
Yeah. You want a giant Excel spreadsheet built with pivot tables. RV will have it done in about 10 minutes. Like just stupid stuff that's well beyond my pay grade. He makes look easy. That's not what I do. Admin stuff is not what I do.
This is just
admin stuff is what he does. But here's the thing about it, and Kelly's gotten really good at this. She was your typical like high D, high I, on the profile test, and she doesn't like giving up things. Didn't like turning loose of things. She wanted to control everything, right? Wanted to do it all.
Look around.
Hard to believe, right? So once she got going with RV, she figured out, oh my goodness, I can start giving things up, and I can start focusing on other things. Because if we're being honest, when you're in business, 20% of your effort creates 80% of your results.
Yes.
The Pareto principle, right?
Yeah.
It's throughout life. It's the same everywhere. And so what she found was by turning over all that 80% stuff that only creates 20% of the results, which is typically admin stuff, she can focus on the things that matter, the things that move the needle.
Yeah.
And that's where he came in. And once she figured it out that she could trust him and he would deliver, it became, what can I fire myself from today?
It changed your guys' life.
1,000%.
Yeah.
1,000%.
I mean, I've kind of been around you guys that whole time. And I mean, what it did was it took you guys from, having to spend all your time down here grinding it out, trying to figure out where the next thing was coming from, because you were just managing everything. You were in the office, you were managing this, managing that, paying this bill, doing this, and now it's like clockwork.
I refer to it as working in your business as opposed to working on your business.
Yeah.
And that's just the difference. And when you have the right administrative support and you're not having to deal with all of that, you can focus on the things that matter. Now, what's the result of that? She gets to work with more clients now than she ever has.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah.
Her business is crazy, and she does more listings and sales than she ever has.
She's not worried about getting to the bank by 6.
None of that stuff.
Yeah.
And so, and this is how crazy it is. So it used to be, so typical real estate agent, you go and you meet with a client for a listing appointment, and you have the listing agreement signed, and you've got this stack of paperwork, right? And takes a long time to do it.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
So now what she does is she wears an earbud, tells the client, hey, I've got my assistant on the phone with me.
Yep.
He's taking notes for me.
Yep.
And so he's listened to everything. And as she's talking to the client, he's writing down all of the information, and he's on the computer filling out all of the paperwork.
Mm-hmm.
And so by the time she leaves the client's house,
they have it in
and
her email.
Gets to her car, she pulls it up on an iPad or on her phone, and she reviews all the documents to make sure everything's kosher.
Mm-hmm.
And she says, go, and they get emailed to the client. The client electronically signs them.
Yep.
Okay. So then what would normally require her to go back to the office, print, fill it all out, re-upload it into
put the paper in the printer,
right? Do all of this stuff. By the time she gets to the office, it's to the client. It's already been signed.
Probably at a lender, and probably getting approved, and probably already halfway through the process.
And the listing is already scheduled.
Yep.
The photos have been ordered. The drone has been ordered.
Yeah.
Like everything has been done, and she gets to come home and hang out with Drew instead of spending another hour and a half at the office.
Yeah.
And it's life-changing.
Yeah.
It's absolutely life-changing.
Absolutely.
Or she can go on to the next appointment and hit rinse and repeat and do the exact same thing again. And And it's what changes everything.
Yeah.
It just, that leverage changes. It changes your life.
Yeah. Yeah. You're right. I'm sure it does. I mean, that's, it's crazy. I wish I could find a bigger spot in my business for that. My problem is you have to be in my world. It's just not that I have right now. My only hole is getting filled by what I have.
Right.
You know, because in my world, in order to do anything, you have to be licensed.
Exactly.
To do it, you know, that's the part that kills me. You know, there's not a whole lot of administration stuff that you can't.
And
be.
for her, the same. It's the same in real estate, except for the administrative part on the back end.
On the back end,
on the back end, and that's all. You know, can be. It's fine for that.
Yep.
But in literally, he at 9 o'clock in the morning, she gets a text message from him, says, "Good morning, Kelly.
What can I do for you today?
Ready to slay the day." And at 6 or 7 at night, he says, "Thank you for a great day," and
signing off.
Yeah. You know, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I bet it is. Huh. So how would they find you? How do they look this up? How's like you know, what do they do? Just look up cyberbacker.com?
Yeah, just go to cyberbacker.com. I mean, we don't have this area, so
yeah,
you know, this isn't our area, but it's certainly worth, if you're in business and you need administrative support, it's certainly worth taking a look at.
Yeah, I think it'd be cool. I mean, it's growing. That's going to be something everybody uses before it's all said and done.
Yeah, I agree.
Now let's just do that tutor piece in there.
Well, but these are things that really creative people come up with. That wasn't our idea.
Yeah.
You know, no one thought, oh, we can turn cyberbackers into tutors. It just happened that a mom had said, "Hey, can you tutor I'm having trouble. Little Johnny's having trouble with math or science or whatever it was." And her person said, "Well, I'm really good at that.
Yeah.
We'll set little Johnny down here." And the next thing you know, we're all going, "Wow.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That's pretty cool."
Hey, do you want to help develop your child's athletic ability? Or maybe you want to get off the couch and make yourself a little bit better? They earn the day at AP Prep. Look them up, apprep.info.
Man, isn't it funny? Like, let's say, all right, we good on that? Can we talk about something else?
Hell yeah.
Okay. Listen, with this AI.
Oh, dude, I am a Chat GPT freak.
Chat GPT. Mm-hmm. That's what it is. AI.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let's talk about AI.
You know it works.
I know it works. Yep. Why do you need to go to school anymore?
You know, this is an interesting conversation. You do. And so I wish I could remember the guy's name. He is... I believe his last name is Larry, maybe. I can't remember. He was one of the guys who got Yahoo off the ground.
Yeah.
Right. So he's the back end. He's the computer geek guy, and that would be a compliment for him. He would think that was a compliment. But he is one of the foremost authorities on this topic. And he was speaking to a bunch of college professors a few weeks ago, and their only concern was, how are we going to keep people from cheating? Because literally, if I type in...
We did it.
I showed you.
We did it.
If you type in, I need to write a 500-page paper, I need to write a 500-page paper on the Spanish Inquisition.
Yeah.
And I need it to be whatever, in the voice of Joe Rogan. Right? That's exactly how it will be written.
Or it needs to be in Chinese.
Or whatever. It doesn't matter.
It
does not matter. It will do it.
It will do it on the spot.
It will do it on the spot, and it is the most incredible thing to watch. But these professors were only concerned about, how are we going to keep people from cheating? And he listened to it, and he listened to it, and he listened to it, and they keep asking these questions. And he finally said, "Guys, stop. Stop. You're asking the wrong question. The question that you should be asking is, how can we train these young people to utilize this genie that is now out of the bottle, that's not going back in the bottle? How can we train them to utilize this technology to make the world a better place, to make business more efficient, to make business better, to help more people, to cure famine? How can we, you need to figure out how to teach people how to do this. You're thinking about it wrong, because there is no limit to what it can do.
AI is, there's no, putting the genie back in the bottle is the best way of putting it, because
it's not happening.
It's not happening. There's no way, especially after what you showed me. So let's talk about this Chat GPT. Mm-hmm. Okay, so you showed me this, and this Chat GPT, and I didn't know anything about it till you showed this to me. And we asked it just the most random stuff. Okay. And I think I stopped in there, and I think I had like had an insurance epiphany that I had to tell you about or something. I forget what it was. And you were like, hey, check this out.
No, your gout was acting up.
That's what it was. That's what it was.
You're all inflamed.
Yeah. I went vegan.
Yeah.
I know. Sad day in Pudge's diet, folks. Man, can you
talk about changing everything?
I can't kill anything. What's this going to do?
I know.
I'm not going to, I have no reason to go hunting anymore.
No.
I can't eat it.
Can't eat it.
I don't know what I'm going to do.
So you came in and you said, well, and I had showed you some stuff a few days
We need
before.
to ask AI. What
and
is Pudge supposed to do?
And he comes in, he's like, I got to know. He said, I'm in pain. I got to know. What do I got to do?
Literally. So we said, let's ask the gout, or let's ask, we had a gout question.
We were asking it whether a plant-based diet would positively affect your inflammation.
Yes.
And I asked it that question, and it went off on a tangent of every known thing about how plant-based diets affect gout. But then you can ask it a follow-up question, or ask it to revise a sentence, and it just redoes everything. I mean, it's like you're talking to the smartest human being on earth that can type at 200 words a minute and with such clarity.
Such clarity. You and I read that. You read that to me. That's what I didn't stop in. You showed it to me. We talked about the plant-based diet, and I was driving down the road, and I called you, and I said, hey, the only thing I know to solve my question is AI. Because I had talked to my doctor about it. They had recommended this. Okay. And I said, I want to know what this AI says about it. But I stopped in that day, and we were talking about something, and you said, hey, look at this Chat GPT. So the Chat GPT. So this is a subscription-based, AI is artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. You explained this to me as like the Terminator.
In a wild world, yes.
Yeah, it's a robot that you are basically, you ask it or say it or whatever it is, if you need an answer, and it gives you back, you can tell it to do something, you can ask it a question, and it takes it's not taking the place of the Google search engine, but it probably will.
It's a different thing. It's
a different
thing. So I heard
yeah.
that explained one time.
Yeah.
It's not a search engine will give you a reference to something to where you can go get whatever information or whatever video. It will take you, it's more of a phone book, if you will.
Yeah.
To get you there. Chat GPT will explain it
and do it.
And do it. So for instance, the other day I had to write a sales piece for something, and I'm sitting there like I wasn't feeling creative, and so I start typing, and it's like nothing's coming in. And so I just said, what am I doing here? And I typed in the variables that wasn't, I said, what was it? It was a sales flyer. It was a sales brochure for something. I can't remember what the topic was, but I typed in like 5 or 6 variables, and in about 4.5 or 5 seconds, I had a 500-page, all the narration for a 500-page flyer that was so eloquently written in a way that this top down, anybody could understand it. It made perfect sense. And it even added some stuff to it that made it even better. And I'm just like, wow, this is, it's life-changing.
Did Elon come up with this?
So Elon's involved in it. Elon Musk believes that AI is a bigger threat to mankind than all of the nuclear devices on the planet, if it is implemented and used wrong. And so he wanted to be heavily involved in this creation of this AI model. And this is the most advanced AI model that is out there to date. All of the known information on the internet has been absorbed by this up through September of, I don't know, 2019 or so. I can't remember what the date is. There's a day, it's September of whatever year it is, and they're working on getting the rest loaded in to get it current. When it gets current, think about the applications for finance, economics, logistics. Like, it's crazy, right? I mean, just because.
So that was only through 2019.
I believe, yeah.
So yeah, like that did kind of. So this going back to the Chat GPT. So you pay a subscription, and it did kind of remind me, like, you know, just the startup and you know, just what
it's not fancy.
Yeah, it's not. It kind of reminded me of, like, you know, whenever I was in high school and like the first time I saw the internet, you know, and it was like
it's kind of like looking at an Apple. What do they call the first one? Whatever that was.
Yeah.
So, or like looking at AOL when it started.
Sure.
There's just not much.
It's not much there.
It's not fancy. It's not sexy.
Literally like a line bar. Type it in.
Type in your query, and it's going to spit it right back. That's it.
That's it. Yeah.
But
how much you pay
sure
for it?
Smart, $20 a month.
And anybody can sign up for it, right?
Yeah, it's a long wait list. It took a long time.
So
they've got it's a bandwidth problem.
A bandwidth.
It's they only have so much capacity, so computing capacity.
Okay, yeah.
You know, and so it took, I don't know, it took me probably close to 2 months before I could get signed up.
Wow. You're a tech guy, Mike.
I'm not. I just stumble onto stuff, and
what do you do? Just lay around on the pillow? You guys just pillow talking?
I don't sleep, man.
You guys just
sleep.
Scrolling through. Hey, Mike, what's the hottest trend?
But the difference is I act on stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not afraid to say, okay, I think I might be able to use that. I'm going to do this and try it.
Yeah.
Because what's the worst thing that happens? I wasted $20, and you know, I don't ever want to waste $20, but I knew I could get value out of it, and it's insane.
Yeah. Yeah. I was blown away by it. Yeah. Because honestly, that was kind of one of the reasons that I went with that and talking to my doctor. After that, I went and talked to my doctor. About I'm flip flopped, but we asked it about that plant-based diet, and that was the one that that told me about the animal fats, that my body can't digest the animal fats
and the way that it worked and the differences in the
and it explained it so easy, didn't it?
Right.
And it was, and like you and I both were like, yeah, Pudge, you're not digesting animal fats anymore. That's why you're having a hard time with this.
And so we said, what about
grass-fed beef or something?
Grass-fed beef, and it gave you a big ixnay on that. And then we asked it about plant-based proteins, and found out that soy protein is okay.
Whey protein
is not okay.
Yeah.
It was
clear,
just instantly.
And the reason I'm having a hard time remembering this is because I was literally in my earbuds driving down the road.
Yeah.
Like we had this all happened from here to the truck stop.
Yeah.
We learned all this that fast.
What we're sitting here right now, metaphorically, watching the world be changed before our very eyes in what may be the most profound change in terms of the use of technology. It's, you know, and I think back at you watch the first Terminator movie, and talking about AI. It's like, what in the world is that? And oh wait, the machines started thinking, and there are a lot of reasons why something like that, like the computers taking over the world, is very unlikely to happen. But it's still, you think about it, and it's like how many like crazy science fiction things from 20 years ago are real now. Right. So we'll see.
Scary stuff, man.
Yeah.
What else we got? Anything?
It's all that stuff is good for the good it'll do.
All that stuff is good for the good it'll do. That should be a country song.
I believe you're just the man to write it.
Man. You been playing any?
I play a little bit, not as much as I'd like to. I got that 12 string, and I really enjoy playing that. It's a different kind of playing because I finger pick a lot. You don't finger; it's really hard to get good at finger picking with a 12 string for sure. Yeah. So I like it a lot. Take 6 of them off. I love playing it.
You like the sound of it? Like the sound of it? I had 12 string for a while. I haven't played much. I was letting you hear that Dave Carell. I got a show with him coming up. There's some cool stuff happening here with the Chubbies.
That guy can play.
Oh yeah, he can play anything. He can play anything. Cool stuff coming up with the Chubbies. Stay tuned, guys. We got going to be doing some more advertising. We're going to be doing. There's some guys coming on. Got 4 new sponsors coming on.
That's awesome.
Yep. What else was there? Getting ready to bring another guy on the show, or bring a guy on that's going to start doing some clips. I think he's coming in on Sunday, something like that. Chad's sick tonight. He's got the punies.
I feel bad about that. I always enjoy hanging out with Chad too.
Yes, he was down about that, and he said I got to get with Davis anyway. Yeah, he's getting ready to go in full blown baseball mode.
Yeah, well, it's getting that time of year for him.
Yeah,
and I mean, you're talking about the perfect age, and you just can't miss any of that.
No, we refuse to.
You shouldn't.
No, we refuse to. It's Chad and I have a good time, but we keep it pretty well, babe. We went to Rick K and the All Nighters. I was thinking you went to that with us one year.
I did.
Yeah, I should have called you Saturday. Did you guys went?
I wasn't here Saturday. We'd just gotten back from Utah.
Oh,
we were in Columbus.
Would you have went? You was here.
If I'd been in town and hadn't been dog tired, yeah, I probably would. It's hard to have much more fun than that.
It really is. That's a pretty good show.
It's just a fun show.
That's a good show.
It's like
they lost the drummer.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah.
It's like the old when who was the band that used to play at Heinegate? Man, I'm 60. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah.
I can't remember these things.
Have you talked to your boy Schwab lately?
I haven't. I've been trying to actually get a hold of him. He's been busy. He's working on a project. I don't know what he's working on.
Man, that guy's a grinder.
He is. My
gosh. He plays. What's he play? 180 shows a year?
Between 150 and 100. I think about 150 now.
Man, dude, I don't know how he does it.
He'd play 180 though.
I know he would. He loves it. He loves it. He absolutely loves it. There's no way I could do that. I saw him down last year at that Black Diamond Festival, and I got you, and I sent you that picture.
Yeah.
I said, because I at least got him to, give me something.
He's a great guy. He's just one of those guys that everybody likes because he loves life. He loves people. And you'll not ever see anybody that when they're in between sets, he doesn't stop working the crowd. Mm-mm. He's shaking everybody's hand, hugging babies and kissing women and whatever.
He does it every night.
And he just is so good at it. And he's just genuinely one of the nicest people that you'll ever meet. There's just not anything but goodness in that guy.
Remember what he did for me and my Uncle Jeff? He signed that picture.
Yep.
Remember and mailed it to us? You had him mail it to us?
Yeah.
Yep. But I was thinking about that. We went that Red Eye reunion that time. That was
Zachariah's Red Eye.
Oh my God.
They just had that. It's in
January.
End of January every year.
I took my dad and all his
brothers. It sells out
brothers.
every year. You're talking 4,500 people every year at the LG or whatever they call it now.
Yeah.
In Columbus.
I haven't missed putting on any concert events yet. I was glad I had John here at one time at McGuffey Lane. I was glad I had him here. I was glad that they finally got a chance to bring that whole band to Jackson. But
they're great.
Oh, they're tight.
Yeah,
they're tight.
They've been playing together forever.
I haven't missed doing that yet.
That's probably the only time John could get agitated was if they weren't playing well. He would not tolerate that.
It's so annoying. I was listening to that band Saturday night. Well, they were not. I mean, they've just got all new members, and man, it's hard for a musician to sit there and listen. Reynolds went to Billy String Friday night.
Did he?
Yeah, he said it was awesome.
I'm sure it was.
Oh my God, Billy Strings and those guys. I'm excited to get back out there and play.
In their prime, man.
Oh my gosh, they're in their prime. I'm like Reynolds, man. I'm in this dad mode, and I'm just kind of out of the music thing right now.
It's a great place to be. Enjoy it because one day you don't have it anymore, and you're fighting for your time.
Yeah. I haven't seen your boys down here. You guys wrapped up that project next door, and I haven't seen them for a while. They was here about all week last year, though, weren't they?
Yeah,
it was probably pretty nice for you.
Yeah, it was great. Right now,
they hated the drive, but it's nice for you.
Yeah, they didn't. Yeah, from Columbus every day gets. And a lot of people do it. It's not a big deal, but it's one of those things that I really enjoyed seeing them.
I bet you did. Yeah. Yeah.
And my oldest one, Derek, is got a bunch of construction projects going in Columbus, and the youngest one, out of the blue, I don't know, he was doing a lot of deck. He's a really good deck builder, and he's a good electrician. And so he was doing a lot of that type of work, just subbing out for people. And I got a call, and he got hired by this company as a national salesperson, calling on big corporate accounts all across the country out of Chicago. He's in Chicago right now getting trained. And I'm like, damn, good for you.
Do your thing. Awesome. Yeah, do your thing.
He's a good salesperson. So
yeah, how old's he now?
30, just turned almost 31.
Almost 31. Man.
Yeah, I know. I'm getting old.
You're getting old, Mike.
I don't feel old. That's the thing.
Hey,
as long as you, so I'm 60 going on 14.
Yeah, you're
as
good.
long as the 14 never changes,
you're good.
I'm in there.
You're good. All right, Chubbies. Well, hey, like and subscribe. Got anything else? Tell them, Davis.
No, I'm out, man.
All right. Hey, see you. Oh, there it is. There's the camera. I keep looking over here. There it is. See you.